Hello, Froggy here. And I never thought this day would come, but today I'll be showing you how to get further along in the Corrupted Strike from the Last Wish raid. I'd love to be able to do this from patrol, but in order to use our fancy new Interdimensional Rez Breaching tech, we need an auto-rez. And luckily for us, the start of the Last Wish raid has one as soon as the dialogue plays. So to cross this, you can use a grenade to the left there. As a Titan, I could just sword fly underneath, or as a Warlock with Dawnblade if I'm willing to wait, but on a Hunter without access to Sparrows, you're probably gonna need to go this way. We just do a little slide to drop down here. And we're basically taking the reverse of the route that was used to break into Last Wish before its launch. If you want to hit the load zone and die, you can just do it right underneath here. Amusingly, if you do this with a bunch of teammates, if they spawn in before you move, they'll fall under the map. So, that's exciting. In Last Wish from Patrol, you can use Sparrows. In Patrol from Last Wish, you can't. So enjoy your long walk. So when I was exploring with Bachmanetti and Gerbsnail, we found that later parts of the strike were around this area, and then with Mad and Henry, we pinpointed an area that lined up with something out of map. Right here lines up with a pillar way above the map in the Corrupted Strike. We actually discovered later on that the positioning is more flexible than we originally thought. We'll get to that in a little bit. Now, because I actually hopped for most of the path within the Strand itself, I spawned fairly close to the load, so just cut down on a little bit of walking. So from this point until we actually do the breach, it's very important that you do not die. Because if you do, you might find yourself having to do that entire walk over and over again as you slowly fill up your hard drive doing takes as Henry patiently waits at the start. Not that I know what that's like. Anywho, moving on. This next part is somewhat easy to accidentally die to, so I would highly recommend practicing it a few times before you give it a go. We'll be dropping into the Temple of Ilin, and there is a sloped death barrier and a sloped push barrier that are in our way. So you're going to want to kind of press up against the back wall as much as you can and drop at the base of this T-bone here. You'll need to stop your fall at the bottom on your final descent. The lighting change gives a nice indicator of when that's happening. On Titan, I like using the Stasis Super since it's nice and flexible. If you're getting pushed back there, just drop a little bit lower and you should be fine. And we've made it. Now we just need to hit the load zone and die. I find it's best to do this from outside the map. It's annoyingly dark, so we're going to activate the permanent ghost light glitch. Just pull up the director, go to quests, select any of them, then hit the map button twice, and again to close. Until you shoot or something like that, your ghost will just stay out, which, with the new lighting engine, is rather handy for this area. So we're just going to go along the right side here, and we'll be going around a corner, and then we're getting pretty close to the load, so you want to hug the right wall and maybe crouch and move slowly. You gotta go a little bit away from the edge to get around this, and then just hug that corner. And here we are. in a mysterious rocky location. So at this point, you can have your ally trigger the door, and that triggers auto-res.
You are finally here, Brother Slayer, Spawn Killer. All that strength, and you're still nothing but a retainer to the Awoken Queen. You could be so much more. All you need do is wish it. Come. I would quite like to meet you.
And we've made it. Before we figure out where exactly we made it, let's take a moment to enjoy ourselves. So, naturally, if you want to get more people here, they can do the same thing, and then you can res them. That pillar there is the common ground that we use to find this spot. See Henry dying there to set a spawn location. And later on, there he is.
Oh, I died to the load again. Wow, look at that. Hey, Froggy, get my res. I'm in the best spot.
Oh, Henry's here. Those of you paying attention will note that that spot is not that spot. That was the key to realizing that this glitch is actually much more powerful than we previously thought, and that the height is actually kind of flexible. At least if your target is lower than where you started off. Not quite sure what the limits on that are yet. We've gotten above the corrupted. Can we get back inside? Luckily, since this is Destiny 2, there is basically always a way. Can you tell which hole the Guardian should go into? That's right, the square hole. Thanks to Henry for pointing that spot out to me. So now we're inside. Let's see where we go after the ogres and this old room. There's actually another square hole above us here. Let's take a little look around. So, unfortunately, since we haven't killed the ogres, this grate is here. But given that we have broken time and space to get this far, that's not going to stop us. There's a hole in the map up there. But before we check that out, I want to show you some stuff with the elevator. So since the elevator was never active, since we're not in the strike, it is right up here, but you can actually drop out of the map pretty easily here, and I like doing it on the left side because there's this handy platform that you can jump over to. And isn't this where we came in? No. Unfortunately, I don't have a good view of Henry, even though he has a great view of me. Lighting effects. Try as much as I might. There's just no spotting him down there. Maybe someone spectating from an area with better lighting could do it. Previously, we had speculated on ways to get up, but as you can see, there is a death barrier, so that wouldn't have gotten us anywhere. There's also something interesting right as you exit this elevator room. It turns out the height barrier is much higher there, so let's go take a look. A little bit of ice climbing will get us up there. So the spot up there is fairly narrow where the ceiling is wide, so you're going to have to jump pretty close to where the elevator is to actually get up there. And you can see I can jump. If I were to move forwards, I wouldn't be able to at all. And you can't quite climb this normally, but with 2 people you have 6 grenades, which is enough to keep it up. And up above you can see the ascendant area for this this part of the strike, which unfortunately we need to figure out a way to get to if we're going to get any further. So, with the oddities of the glitch we noticed before, I figured we'd try and see if we can just skip right to that part. So I had Henry and JV3 mark the location and set my spawn there. And as you can see, my height is way above where they are. And then we went to trigger the load, and this happened.
By the way, we're fairly certain
Oh my
that
goodness, that's insane! That is insane!
How far above were you?
Barely.
So my original strategy does work for this load zone.
So that's exciting. Hopefully we'll find a Rez point that gets us closer to the ascendant area so we can keep going. In the meantime, if you need to let other people up after you're already in, it's pretty easy to get back out of these square holes to get a Rez. So let's do that real quick here. Just get a little starting vantage point here, and then ice climb the rest of the way. It isn't too bad. Even if that jump might be annoying on some classes. Well, while I work my way up here, I might as well talk a little bit more about that elevator area. So, while you can climb the whole thing with stasis, Henry did confirm from getting outside in the ascendant area that if you were to drop down from above, you would hit a kill barrier. And it's possible to blink through them going down. It might be a bit trickier to do it on the way up, but gonna have to find some way past there. This always takes a bit longer than you would expect it to. Give myself a safety grenade. And surely I can make this one. Yay. So this is the other end, the one that we didn't... Oh, whoa, bad place, bad place. Yeah, so the right side, definitely more friendly. Maybe there's interesting stuff up here. So anyways, let's get past that grate. If you dip down below here, you can scoot past the rock layer to get into the next room. Luckily, the death barrier is low enough to permit this. This is a fairly pretty area, but unfortunately for us, the ascendant portal that would take us above to the next area is not present, so it's a bit of a dead end for now. Gonna have to do a bit more work here and figure out if we can get any further in. Getting to the chest room would be pretty cool, but I will leave that as a challenge for later. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy exploring this area. Who knows, maybe you can be the one to push us towards the next step.